Hey guys, I had a pretty bad league start and got really tilted, so I took a few days off. I'm back now with fresh eyes and honestly, I'm having a lot of fun. So there's a bunch of drama about loot going on right now. People are quitting the game, it's wild. However, I think there are plenty of things in the game you can have fun with. Personally, I like making builds and finding uses for niche items. In this video, I'm going to be going over some cool new or rebalanced uniques from 3.19 that I think are going under the radar right now. I'm not going to be talking about the super OP uniques like Dialas and the Covenant unless you want me to, because most people already know about them. I want to highlight some items which I think are really strong or at least have something interesting going on to hopefully inspire people to have fun building around them. But first, a brief promotion from the sponsor of this video. Raid Shadow Legends. Raid needs little introduction, one of the most well-known mobile games out there. It's got loads of content and a ton of champions, over 600 now, who all come from unique factions with their own history. My favorite faction is the High Elves. Their homeland has been around for thousands of years, surviving the fall of the Lizardman Empire and attacks from hordes of orcs. Even after a civil war, they're stronger than ever. My favorite is this guy, Jingle Hunter, because he's like a Christmas elf, Lamau. This month, Raid's got a schedule of special events and activities including Forge Pass Season 3 with some amazing rewards on offer. They're also bringing out some new champions along with some awesome looking skins for Madame Ceres. But wait, Raid has also just released a legendary version of a fan favorite champion, Death Knight, and everyone can get him for free just by logging in for 7 days between now and October 27th. There's never been a better time to get started. If you use this promo code, you get a bunch of free items to instantly level your new strongest champion to level 50. If you click the link in the description or scan this QR code, you'll get some bonuses worth $30, a free epic champion, 200k silver, an energy refill, an XP boost, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in-game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. First up is Kaom's Spirit. This pair of gloves gives us another way to generate rage. I never really liked playing rage-reliant builds because it takes a long time to stack up normally, so you had to chain hook a Hydrosphere for like a minute before bosses, or build around Chainbreaker, which is unusable by most builds now. So why would you go through all this effort? Well, rage is pretty good. For each point of rage, you get 1% attack damage, 0.5% attack speed, and 0.2% move speed. With 90 rage, which is really easy to get on a rage stacking build, you get 90% attack damage, 45% attack speed, and 18% move speed, just inherently. Now with Berserker's Rite of Ruin though, you get 270% attack damage, 135% attack speed, and 54% move speed. Not to mention, you also get access to Berserk, which is kinda busted. With a constant supply of rage, you'll be able to easily sustain it for over 20 seconds. These days, life regeneration is relatively easy to get, and with percentage regen, you get more value the more life you have, so you're rewarded for life stacking. I'm currently trying this out with Rage Vortex, and it's feeling pretty good for now. However, the downside of disabling your life regen is pretty annoying. But the good news is, there are ways to get around it. The first thing I thought of was Inquisitor's Pious Path, which applies your life regen to your energy shield so you'll still be able to benefit from the regen you're speccing into. And then you can go low life and ignore your life pool. Another thing you can do is build around Dissolution of the Flesh, which gives you more life and removes the need for regen. Speaking of which, the next item also synergizes well with Dissolution of the Flesh. The newly updated Rathpith Globe just got immensely buffed. I think the intended use for this was probably duration and channeled skills, since you only need to sacrifice life every now and then. Or maybe energy shield based low life builds that only get a few thousand life, because that allows you to ignore the downside of sacrificing life, since you don't care about your current life value and it won't stop you from casting or kill you. However, there are life based builds that can abuse this. With Dissolution of the Flesh, you can again ignore the downside of sacrificing life, and with the 30% multiplier and jewelry from this league, getting over 10k life is pretty effortless. Just with 10k life, you get 500% spell damage and spell crit, which is enough to carry plenty of skills. With Dissolution, you can also run Eternal Youth, so you're permanently recharging life, enabling you to use Petrified Blood, which will now give you damage reduction on your whole life bar, and allowing you to full commit to life stacking with self-cast Dark Pact. I'm starting to notice a trend here, by the way. Turns out, scaling offense and defense at the same time is pretty strong. Next up is Ephemeral Edge, which gives you more damage the more ES you have. This one's more straightforward, but I think it has potential. At the time I checked, it seems everyone with this item on PoE Ninja is some kind of support build using it just for the 50% increased energy shield. But the pseudo energy blade effect seems strong. Since you get to keep all your energy shield, you're able to efficiently scale your ES for both damage and defense. With just 10,000 ES, you're getting an average of 1,000 added flat lightning damage. Of course, it's a huge range, so a fast hitting skill would be ideal. Maybe you even go non-crit and take the lucky lightning damage mastery, I don't know. And there might be some difficulty scaling a slow sword, which also means you can't use Nightblade, but I'm sure there's something OP you can do with this thing. Historically, not even just PoE but in general, scaling health and damage at the same time is really strong and hard to balance. This item is probably just strictly a leveling item, but I think it's probably one of the strongest leveling items in the game. Rigwald's crest summons a spectral wolf on kill up to 10 wolves. With a 30-second duration, you'll almost always have 10 wolves up. If we just ignore the wolves themselves for now, they actually each give a stacking buff that grants 3 to 6 physical damage to attacks. With 10 wolves, that's 30 to 60 added fizz. That's almost as much flat fizz as Abyssus. And you can put this thing on at level 20. Now the buff isn't the only reason you use this ring. The 10 wolves it summons, turns out they're pretty strong themselves. I was leveling using slams, and a lot of the time the wolves were just soloing bosses during the campaign. By the time I got my slam combo off, most things were already almost dead just from the wolves. And I wasn't even using any damage auras. Definitely going to be using this as my go-to leveling ring. Alright, got a bonus one for you guys. I was initially pretty hyped about Victario's flight, but after some testing, I found out that it doesn't work with Mageblood, and Flask Effect, outside of the 95% you can get on the flask itself, doesn't work. While a bit disappointing, I think there's some interesting stuff going on here. Victario's flight applies your Quicksilver flasks to nearby allies. Nearby being about the edge of the screen if you're playing at 16:9. Now maybe a flask support character is a bit of a meme, but this item is probably pretty good for certain minions. Some minions, especially melee ones, feel a lot better with more move speed. You can use multiple Quicksilvers with different suffixes too, but that's probably way too much opportunity cost. You can, however, use a Rot Gut to give your minions onslaught and, well, we're zooming. Yeah, this item's probably just a really good leveling unique for minions, but I don't know, maybe someone can find a cool use for it. Let me know if you guys have any cool ideas regarding the uniques from this patch.